The following clip you're about to see is a small excerpt taken from my exclusive show on Rumble called Lies You Can Trust. It's fully uncensored because Rumble does freedom of speech. You can check it out live every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. But for now, enjoy this clip. I'm going to show you something about, it's a very deliberate assault on the First Amendment. I do think the tyrants are getting so freaking desperate now. So desperate. They're just so obvious. They are now in the process of normalizing talk. It's the normalization phase of it all, ladies and gentlemen, about how we'd be better off without the First Amendment. It can't be absolute. The talk is being normalized. It's a phase in the playbook, and I don't like it. Now, you'd think we haven't heard much from Bill Gates. That's probably because he's been put in his place. But no, leave it to Bill to show up and start talking when nobody wants him to. Dear Lord. This is the first in a small series of clips I'm going to show you of the left openly assaulting our First Amendment. And by the way, I love the Jimmy Dore's text on this. A billionaire who makes huge money off vaccines wants to take away your free speech if you criticize his product. That's like if I, got legislation passed, if you criticize the shirts I sell, oh, you don't like this design? That's against the law. That's disinformation. That's violence. You're saying words that might compel people not to get this shirt. You're like, your shirt's killing people. Well, I don't care. This is what evil looks like. The devil isn't going to appear with horns, but a crew neck, sweater, and glasses on a nerd. And Wokeness says this. Bill Gates wants the world to create an AI program that bans harmful speech. For example, causing people to skip the vax. That's harmful speech, Bill? Maybe that's the opposite? Let's hear it from Billy Boy's mouth himself.
You should have free speech, but if you're inciting violence, if you're causing people not to take vaccines, where are those boundaries that even the U.S. should, have rules? And then if you have rules, what is it? Is there some AI that encodes those rules? Because there's millions of activity, and, if you catch it a day later, the harm is done. We should have free speech, but if you're inciting violence,
we should have free speech, but, and then everything he says is saying we shouldn't have free speech. By the way, if you're inciting violence, that's already covered in the First Amendment bill. Everything that needs to be there to have ideal free speech, it's already there. Vax can be deadly in people. That's not inciting violence. President Trump on January 6, 2021 saying, go home peacefully. That's not inciting violence. It's almost like accusing people who aren't inciting violence of inciting violence with their free speech. That's almost inciting violence. I laugh because I just get angry. Again, the cycle I go in. Let me know what your cycle is. I go from hope to anger to more hope. But it's good. It goes up. It's like a staircase. It's like a horribly made staircase that ultimately goes up. Remember I said the tyrants, deep state, they are getting desperate. Which means they're willing to get more obvious. They're willing to hide in the open. And we know they've been doing that. This is about as open as it gets. Is it time to torch the Constitution? From the New Yorker. Some scholars say that it's to blame for our political dysfunction and that we need to start over. Comment below what you think I'm thinking right now. And then we have this. We'll get back to RFK. He's amazing. I saw this yesterday. Same theme. They're just saying it out loud. This is supposed to be the quiet part. John Kerry. So unelected John Kerry. He was speaking at the World Economic Forum, which is also unelected people. All of them trying to govern the world, though. Weird how that works. John Kerry said at the World Economic Forum, if Democrats win, we can change the First Amendment to fight disinformation. Our First Amendment stands as a major block, he lamented. Yeah, it blocks tyrannical governments. It blocks everything that's not freedom. So John Kerry's words, which we'll hear his horrible words in just a second, if the Democrats win, we can change the First Amendment. You mean do away with it? No. We would never do away with the First Amendment. We're going to change it. Did you know changing it means it's done away with? We didn't know that. All right, John Kerry took a break from preaching about the climate and fear-mongering to you about the climate as he flies over to the World Economic Forum on his private jet, to also be a principled man about freedom of speech. Here we go. So this reporter is just serving up a stupid question to him about what do you do about misinformation. Here's what John Kerry, who definitely doesn't look like a soul, had to say.
It's growing and growing and growing.
Yep.
And the dislike of and anguish over social media is just growing and growing and growing. And it's part of our problem, particularly in democracies, in terms.
The opposite is true. People being able to express themselves is a problem in democracies. No, it's a problem in totalitarian regimes. It's a problem with authoritarianism.
In terms of building consensus around any issue. It's really hard.
Because any issue probably doesn't deserve consensus if it's not in line with your narrative. In fact, not having consensus on most issues can be good. It means there's the sacred diversity, but this time it's in the form of thought, not skin color. So apparently they don't like that.
Hard to govern today. You can't, there's no, the referees we used to have to determine what's a fact and what isn't a fact have kind of, been eviscerated to a certain degree.
I'm translating here for you. What he's saying is perspective has been decentralized to the people. The voice has been decentralized to the people, not just like 3 news outlets, news channels in 1960. And that's all you can watch, that are probably all owned by one corporation and probably all given orders from the same people. We'll do a little, controlled opposition kind of thing. You want to look good.
And people go, and that people self-select where they go for their news and for their.
That's called freedom.
Information.
I'm doing okay.
We just get into a vicious cycle. So it's really, really hard, much harder to build consensus today than at any time in the 45, 50 years I've been involved in this. There's a lot of discussion now about how you curb those entities in order to guarantee that you're going to have, some accountability on facts, et cetera. But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence. So,
well, speaking of who I'd like to hammer out of existence, metaphorically speaking, not literally, John Kerry. He's doing 1984 playbook really well. Double speak. Everything he's accusing like the problem to be, he is that problem. And the place in which he sits, the World Economic Forum, I hate the term misinformation or disinformation because they're made up words that just carry 1984 Orwellian deception to them. But if we were to use those words, is there a bigger disseminator of misinformation than the World Economic Forum or his beloved Democratic Party? Is there? I don't know. By the way, another good word for it is lies. Let me know in the chat. I'm going to do a little market research here. Who do you think is the single biggest source of lies? Now, real quick, a word from an important sponsor, Rumble. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have any biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. Back then, no one thought platforms would ever censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID. But they did. And recently, Facebook admitted that they fell to the pressure of the Biden and Harris administration, but Rumble did not. They held the line. And because of it, Rumble is attacked daily for giving creators like me a voice to talk to you. Rumble is attacked in corporate media, and they're attacked by governments like France. And they're attacked by brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. There's no doubt, corporate America is fighting to remove free speech. But Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get much of it. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask of you. But if you really believe in this fight like I do, and you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in the human right of free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with promo code JP when you purchase an annual subscription. To support free speech, go to rumble.com/premium and use code JP. Like I said, if you have the means and you believe in this cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. And if you don't have the means, me and all the other creators and Rumble itself are just happy that you watch me on Rumble. Thank you.